By the time the paramedics arrived, Derek was still whispering her name. His hands were stained with blood, his voice barely audible. And when they asked what happened, he just said, "I didn't mean to." It's strange, isn't it, how a moment can split a life in two. 1 second, the world is familiar. Warm coffee in the morning, shared glances over dinner, a kiss on the forehead before bed. And the next, it's all glass, scattered and sharp, with no way back to the version of yourself that existed before everything shattered. Derek and Lana had been together for 6 years. Not perfect years, but real ones. The kind where love doesn't always look like fireworks. It looks like checking in, laughing at inside jokes, arguing over groceries. They met at a bookstore of all places, both reaching for the same worn copy of a Murakami novel. That moment, their hands brushing, her shy smile, it stayed with Derek for years. And even as things grew difficult between them, he held on to that memory like a lighthouse, convinced it meant they were meant to last. But love, as it turned out, wasn't a thing that would save them. It started with silence. Not an obvious silence, just small gaps in conversation, a glance that didn't linger, her hand pulling away a little quicker than it used to. He told himself it was stress, work, maybe just a phase. But deep down, something colder had already begun to grow between them. Something she refused to name, and he refused to confront, until the night he found her phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. He didn't go looking for anything. That's what he told himself. But when the screen lit up, "Noah, I miss your face already." He stopped breathing. The confrontation that followed wasn't a screaming match. It was worse. Quiet. Surgical. Each word a cut. "I gave you everything," he said. "You gave me a cage," she replied. And just like that, the version of her he loved disappeared. He didn't remember grabbing her wrist. Didn't remember how close they stood. Only the sound, a dull thud, a sharp gasp, silence. She was on the floor, unmoving. He dropped to his knees, panic flooding in. "Lana, Lana, come on, stay with me." He repeated her name like a prayer, like a plea, but she didn't respond. Blood seeped across the hardwood. And Derek, still holding her, still begging her to wake up, didn't even hear the neighbors pounding on the wall. Didn't hear the sirens. Didn't hear the door break down. The last thing he remembered before they pulled him away was the way her eyes never opened again. And in the weeks that followed, one question echoed through the courtroom. The news headlines, the whispers of neighbors. Was it really an accident? Or was it something darker waiting to happen all along? The courtroom was cold, not just in temperature, but in feeling. Sterile, detached, as if grief had no place here, only facts, exhibits, testimony. And yet, when Lana's mother took the stand, the whole room went quiet, like even justice itself had to hold its breath. She held a photo of Lana as a child, 7 years old, missing her front teeth, wearing a birthday crown. That was her favorite dress, she said softly. She said it made her feel like sunshine. Her voice cracked, but she didn't cry. She had cried enough already, at the hospital, at the wake, during the nights when she still expected her daughter's voice on the other end of the phone. Now, her pain had hardened into something colder, something that could look a jury in the eye and ask, "Does an accident look like this?" Derek sat just feet away, eyes hollow, unmoving. He didn't look at her. He couldn't. For weeks, he'd replayed it in his mind. The moment she slipped, the sound her head made when it hit the table, the way her body went limp. He had told the police it wasn't intentional, that he just grabbed her arm, that he didn't push. But every time he said it, it felt thinner, like maybe the truth had been swallowed by emotion, like maybe he'd never really know if the moment came from love or from rage. Public opinion had made its decision long before the trial began. Social media threads were relentless. Classic narcissist. If he couldn't have her, no one could. He snapped. End of story. No one wanted to hear about the 6 years of love before that night, about the softness, about the small moments of kindness and devotion. People wanted a villain. And Derek, sitting in silence with a defense team that barely believed in him, looked the part. But behind closed doors, when the reporters left and the lawyers stopped talking strategy, he was just a man unraveling in real time. The weight of Lana's absence crushed him slowly, in quiet hours between court dates and interviews. He kept hearing her laugh in his dreams. He'd wake up expecting to find her beside him, curled beneath their duvet, humming as she checked her phone. Instead, there was only the ticking of a clock and the sound of her name echoing in his mind, like a wound that never closed. He never denied that she died because of him, but But he never stopped insisting. He didn't mean to. The prosecution didn't buy it. They painted a story of obsession, a possessive love turned dangerous, a man who couldn't handle rejection, a final argument that had been building for months, like a pressure valve that finally gave way. Their closing line chilled the room. Intent doesn't always come with a plan. Sometimes it comes with a push. The jury deliberated for 10 hours. Derek never looked up when the verdict was read. There are some stories where no one truly wins, where the punishment doesn't undo the pain, where truth is tangled with grief, and justice feels like just another word for too late. Lana is gone. Her family is left to mourn. Derek will live out his years behind bars, carrying the weight of a moment he can never take back. And maybe the scariest part of all is that it wasn't a monster who did it. It was someone who loved her,